Hi everyone, I'm Amy Westburg. I work for the Ulster County Crime Victims Assistance Program, and in partnership with SUNY New Paltz, I serve as the Rape Crisis and Crime Activate Counselor. Today, I'm here to talk to you about the shades of victim blaming. I think we have to pause because it's not moving. Okay, go. Next one. At a time when sexual assault survivors are the most frightened, confused, and full of intense emotions, too often they are confronted with, next. Why did you wait so long to report? Did you at least fight back? You don't look injured. It's been long enough. Get over it. You shouldn't have been walking alone. Had you slept with them before? Women can't be rapists. Young people make mistakes. Are you sure you just don't regret last night? There's always two parts to a story. Were you flirting with them? How much did you have to drink? You were asking for it. It's not rape if you consented every other time. You know you liked it. Why didn't you fight back harder? You'll ruin their life if you report. Boys will be boys. What were you wearing? You shouldn't have been there alone. I believe you, but I don't think it was them. God has a plan for you. I think you're exaggerating. Just keep it to yourself. You don't want to call them out. How long had you known them? There's no evidence. I believe you, but I'm going to keep being their friend. Well, you said yes in the beginning. You were being a tease all night. This is how you want attention? How do you not remember? Your story doesn't make sense. All of these examples represent a secondary victimization. The re-traumatization of the harm caused through the response of individuals and institutions to the survivor. To protect ourselves, community members, and perpetrators, we get caught in the webs of denial and victim blaming to keep the conversation about sexual assault from coming to the table. Dr. Jason Whitting speaks to 3 specific reasons sexual assault stays in the background. The first is the myth of the evil perpetrator. People assume sexual offenders are bad people who only do really bad things and can be easily caught by the public eye. Studies show that most people who commit sexual violence, domestic abuse, or psychological manipulation are trusted community members who are particularly charming, successful, and caring. To point out the wishing of the world was safe, as humans, we are creatures of habit. We want to fashion realities which make events seem predictable. We want to trust our instincts so we can stay safe. It is therefore far easier to blame someone for their harm than it is to accept that it could happen to anyone. This dovetails into the ideology our culture has created, an ideal victim profile. An ideal victim must show signs of obvious weakness, had been involved in a respectable activity at the time of the assault, had not known the offender, and are blameless in all aspects of the interaction. For survivors watching this video, remember, you are not to blame. Even if your attacker was an acquaintance, date, friend, or spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, parent, sibling, guardian, other relative, professor, coach, or employer. You had been sexually intimate with that person or with others before. You were drinking or using other drugs. You froze and did not or could not say no or when unable to fight back. You were wearing clothes that others may see as seductive. You said yes, but later said no, and no one listened to you. You didn't do anything wrong. It's not your fault. Your power was taken away by someone else. You did not commit the harmful act and should not be the one held accountable. It's hard to talk about something that caused so much senseless pain. No, there is no blueprint or timeline for healing. That's what makes it so scary. The gap in our knowledge of trauma has impacted the way you were treated, judged, and perceived, and it's not your fault. To the community, we need to better educate ourselves on the brain's response to trauma and not speak over those directly affected by this injustice. For too long, we have avoided, ignored, belittled, denied, misunderstood, and untreated this cause of great human suffering. We have misinterpreted the reactions of sexual assault survivors and have therefore discouraged survivors from speaking out, taking a direct effect on their ability to heal. The work of Rebecca Campbell's research has taught us that most survivors are going to have one of 4 or multiple stress chemicals released at the time of the assault. The body can be pumped up with natural adrenaline called catecholamine to allow someone to fight back or flee in a stressful situation. In conjunction with the catecholamine, energy from corticosteroids are released. This determines how much energy is readily available for someone to utilize during an assault, and it looks differently between all people. Some fight their way out and stay pumped up after the event, and others simply flatten out to the point of freezing and remain in a stupor after. The lack of energy from the corticosteroids prevents the survivor from calling out for help, telling the assailant no, and fighting back. Natural morphine floods the body through the opioid hormone to block physical and psychological pain and blunt the environment. In conversation, it can appear the survivor has no emotion behind the experience, no sense of time, in a trance and unable to recall specific details. To try and balance the natural morphine, oxytocin is released to promote good feelings. If the oxytocin gets a little high, a survivor might laugh or smile because the oxytocin is higher than the opioid. When these 4 hormone levels are really high in the body, it interferes with other structures in the brain trying to lay down the neural mechanisms of the memory. This cellular damage causes the memory to be stored in a very disorganized, fragmented way. This affects the survivor's ability to chronologically remember the assault in a smooth fashion. After taking a deep breath, it is extremely hard to name that sexual assault is a very common experience for many people, where 1 in 3 women will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime, and 1 in 6 men will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime. If someone comes to you and tells you that they have been assaulted, the best words of advice you can give them is, "I believe you, and it's not your fault." Together, we can rise as a community and better support one another. Thank you.